My wife cheated on me for 4 years because she was bored. Her lover passed away, and she's begging to come back. I honestly do not even know where to start. My wife walked out on me weeks ago, and just recently admitted she had been cheating on me for the past 4 years because, in her words, she had gotten bored. And now, somehow, she wants to come back. I am completely lost right now, and I really need any kind of perspective or advice anyone can offer. A little background. I am 38 years old. My wife is 37. We have been married for 17 years, but we have been together for 23. We were high school sweethearts. We have 3 daughters, ages 16, 14, and 10. I still do not know much about what happened, but here is what I do know so far. About 3 days ago, my wife came home from work looking frantic and overwhelmed. She had to work the next day, but instead, she rushed into the house, grabbed an overnight bag, threw some things in, and left without explaining anything. I only know this because our oldest daughter was home and saw the whole thing. She tried to talk to her mom, but she just kept crying and would not say a word. My daughter told me it was like she was panicking. Since then, my wife has not answered any of our phone calls or responded to any text messages. I immediately reached out to her parents, and eventually they got back to me. They told me she was safe with them and asked me to be patient and understanding. That was all they said. Nothing more. I tried calling her sister, her brother, and even a close friend she works with. Her brother told me he had no clue what was going on. Her friend said my wife had shown up at work in the morning, but by lunchtime she had left and never came back. That is all she knew. And now, here I am. 3 days have passed, and we have not heard a single word from her, not even a message to the kids. Nobody is telling us anything. Meanwhile, I am just trying to keep it together for my daughters while we wait in silence. They keep asking what is going on, why their mom left, and all I can tell them is that she is staying at their grandparents' house for now, and that we need to be patient. But every part of me wants to just throw the kids in the car and drive over there unannounced. It is only a 2-hour drive, and sitting here in the dark like this is eating me alive. The girls are scared, confused, and they keep asking if we are getting a divorce. That could not be further from the truth. We never fight. Seriously, we never argue, and the kids know that. I keep running in circles trying to figure this out. What could have possibly happened? If someone had died, would she not have told me right away? If she was dealing with something traumatic, would she not have leaned on me first? Nothing about this makes sense. We are completely in the dark, and it is driving me crazy. I am scared, angry, worried, every emotion you can think of, all at once. Does anyone have any idea why a wife and mother would just completely ghost her family like this? I am desperate for some kind of explanation because I cannot keep sitting here in limbo. Update 1. I am still pretty new to Reddit, so I apologize if I do not know how to link things or post properly. I did not get much sleep last night, so forgive me if this is a short update. Last night, my father-in-law never called me back, so I finally decided to contact the police to do a wellness check, like many people here had suggested. That ended up causing a huge mess I will not get into, but what I found out broke me. It turns out my wife has been having an affair. It has been going on for at least 2 years, probably longer. You were all right. The man she had been seeing had a heart attack on Tuesday and passed away that same night. My mother-in-law definitely knew about it, and from what it sounds like, my sister-in-law probably knew too. They were covering for her this whole time. And still, no word from my wife. Nothing to me, nothing to the kids. I'm trying to shield my daughters from all of this for now. Seriously, I do not even know what to do next. That is all I know at this point, but it feels like more than I can handle. Thank you to everyone who has offered advice. I really appreciate it. If you pray, please keep us in your prayers. Update 2. A few people recommended this subreddit to me, so I joined and have been reading through a lot of posts whenever I get a quiet moment. Usually late at night when the house settles down, but that is when my brain kicks into overdrive. I get these waves of crushing sadness, then bursts of pure anger, and sometimes both at the same time. Sleep feels impossible, and I just drift through the day like a zombie. I am still trying to figure out all the abbreviations here. I guess what you would call my discovery day was Friday. At first, I thought the affair had been going on for about 2 years, but now it looks like it might have been even longer. And the man she was cheating with, her affair partner, was someone she had known for a while. His sudden death from a heart attack is what brought everything to light. My oldest daughter has been helping me piece things together, but there are still so many things I am not ready to talk about publicly. Seriously, I had not planned on posting any more updates, but the amount of support and advice I have gotten has been overwhelming in the best way. It has actually been helping me process this nightmare. It breaks my heart knowing so many others have gone through this kind of pain. To those people, I am truly sorry. In the past couple of days, I met with 2 different lawyers to talk through my options. I have also reached out to several places for therapy, but there are really long wait lists around here. I am trying to follow as much advice as I can, staying away from alcohol, which is easy since I do not drink, focusing on self-care, exercising when I can. I have always kept myself in pretty good shape for my age, but honestly it is tough finding the energy to work out right now. I know some of you are probably curious about all the details, the who, what, when, why. Please understand I am just not ready to get into all of that yet. Every single day feels like another bomb goes off, and I am just trying to figure out how to get even a little sleep at night. My wife was everything to me. She was my best friend since high school. She is the mother of my 3 beautiful girls. We had inside jokes. We had our own secret handshakes. And now, it is like all of it has been erased. Everything we built, everything we shared, it is just gone. I cannot stop replaying every moment we shared, every milestone, every inside joke, every laugh. And now, every time I think about it, I just sink deeper into this crushing sadness. It is paralyzing. It feels like none of it meant anything to her. And now I am staring down a future without her in it. Then, like clockwork, that how could she do this, thoughts hit me, and I get swallowed up by this uncontrollable, burning anger. Sometimes I end up screaming into my pillow or punching the mattress until my arms give out. It is a brutal, never-ending cycle. I only manage to fall asleep when exhaustion completely takes over. But then I will wake up out of nowhere, and my brain starts spinning again, dragging me back into the spiral. Whatever little energy I have left, I pour into my daughters. And seriously, they have been the ones taking care of me, like the roles have flipped. They are the ones making sure I am eating, asking if I am okay. It is not fair to them. For those of you who have been through something like this, how did you sleep? How did you handle the silence? The empty nights where it is just you and your thoughts. Outside of making sure my girls are okay, I know sleep needs to be my top priority, but I just cannot seem to get there. Any advice would mean the world right now. Thank you all. Update 3. I am still figuring out how Reddit works, so sorry if I repeat things or do not format this the right way. It has been just over a week since my discovery day, and in that time I have found out that my wife's affair lasted more than 3 years. I still do not have an exact timeline, but it sounds like it started out as an emotional affair and eventually turned physical. I keep wondering if the pandemic and lockdowns had something to do with it, if they played a role somehow. I might never get answers to that. Anyway, yesterday my in-laws showed up unexpectedly to see their grandkids. My wife has been staying at their house ever since this whole nightmare began. And honestly, it was pretty messed up. They spent maybe 15 minutes with the girls, just a quick hello and some small talk, before they pulled me aside to talk in private. We ended up having a long conversation, as you can imagine. I will not get into every detail here, but here is the short version. My wife wants to come home, but she is scared. She is terrified of the fallout from what she has done and is afraid to face it head-on. Her parents spent a good chunk of time trying to figure out if I was planning to divorce her. They pushed hard for me to forgive her and work on fixing the marriage. It was clear they felt ashamed and embarrassed by everything. But it was also obvious they wanted her out of their house. They did not want to keep sheltering her. It was a polite, respectful conversation overall. I will admit, I lied. I told them I had not made any decisions yet about our future. But the truth is, I have already decided. I plan on filing for divorce. I just feel like if I let that be known right now, I will never get the full truth from my wife. And maybe I never will, but I need to at least give her the chance to sit in front of me and lay it all out. We were together for over 22 years, married for 16. We raised 3 amazing kids. We built a life full of memories, traditions, milestones. I want her to look me in the eye and tell me everything. I want my daughters to see that I gave their mother the opportunity to explain herself, that I gave her a chance to apologize, to own her mistakes, and that I tried to handle this as calmly and maturely as possible. I keep trying to choose the path that sets the best example for my girls. But I do not know. Maybe I am screwing it up. My lawyer made it very clear that I cannot legally prevent my wife from returning to the house. So if she wants to come back, I cannot stop her. I absolutely do not want her here right now, though. My daughters and I have finally started to settle into a routine. So I made a demand that I figured would at least buy me some time. I told her she could come home if and only if she sat down with me in person, looked me in the eye, and told me everything about the affair. Every detail, from start to finish. And I told her she would also need to sit down with the girls, apologize to them face to face, and answer their questions honestly. I figured since the girls already know what happened, that is only fair. Of course, legally she does not have to agree to any of that. She can just walk through the door whenever she wants. But I thought, if she is too afraid or ashamed to face us, maybe that would give me some time to get things in order. Is that wrong? I am not trying to manipulate the situation. I just do not want to suddenly be living under the same roof again until I feel a little more stable emotionally. There is a mandatory 90-day waiting period in our state before the divorce can be finalized anyway. Her coming home is inevitable. Eventually, we both have to go back to work, and life is going to keep moving no matter what. I just want to delay it a little so I can plan, get my head on straight, and figure out next steps. My wife has been texting the girls. She keeps telling them she is sorry over and over again. She has been asking about me every day, and from what they show me, it sounds like she is really starting to grasp the weight of what she has done, especially in the last few days. How do I navigate this? Was my demand a mistake? It sounds like she is going to be coming home sooner rather than later anyway. I feel okay with the path I am on right now. I kind of expected this moment to come eventually. I just want to make the right choices for my daughters, and then for myself as we move forward. Thank you so much to everyone who has shared advice, support, encouragement. I really appreciate it. Update 4. This update is probably not very exciting, but I really need to get it out. It has been a terrible weekend. My wife came home yesterday. There was a lot of build-up leading up to it throughout the week. Normally, every time she walked through that door, I would greet her with a hug and a kiss. But this time, there was just this awful, uncomfortable tension hanging between us. Believe it or not, she actually came up and tried to hug me right away, like nothing had happened. I turned away. Once she settled in, I did what I had been waiting to do. I asked her to tell me everything. And just like every other time we have talked since this happened, she told me she was not ready. We had even spoken on the phone earlier in the week, and she said the same thing then. I reminded her that the only reason I agreed to let her move back in was because she promised she would sit down with me, face me, and explain why she had been gone for almost 3 weeks. But again, she repeated that she just was not ready to talk. It took everything in me not to scream at her right then. I had to take a few deep breaths just to keep myself from losing it. I could not hold it in. After what felt like forever standing there in silence, I just blurted it out. I told her straight up that I knew about the affair, that she had been seeing this coworker for over 4 years, that she had planned to leave me for him, that she ghosted her entire family. And now here she was walking back through the door without even meeting the one condition I had set for her return. And I told her I wanted a divorce. That was the moment things got weird. Her face, her body language, it was so obvious she had no clue how much I already knew. Her eyes went wide for a second, and then she just stood there in the kitchen, staring at the floor. She did not say a word, just froze, completely expressionless. I had braced myself for anything, literally anything but this. I thought maybe she would break down crying. Maybe she would start shouting and blaming me. Maybe she would fall into some dramatic apology, or at least try to sit down with me and talk. But not this blank, frozen reaction. We stood there in total silence for what must have been 5 straight minutes. It was honestly one of the strangest, most surreal moments of my life. She looked like she had no idea what to say, and I was just as stuck. I had read every comment, every piece of advice you all gave me. I had even written notes and practiced in front of the mirror, preparing myself for every possible way this confrontation could go, except for this. So finally, I just decided right then and there to lay it all out. Maybe it was dumb of me, I do not know. But I told her everything I knew about the affair. I laid out the timeline, filled in the blanks with my own guesses where I had gaps, how they met, how her sister might have been involved, what went down during the lockdowns. I just laid it all bare. And the entire time, she kept staring at the floor, never once looked at me. The longer I talked, the angrier I got because she just stood there. She did not interrupt, she did not deny anything, she did not apologize, nothing. I fought so hard not to yell, to keep from saying anything cruel or obscene, but inside I was screaming. When I finally ran out of things to say, I just stood there again in silence. Another long, awkward stretch. And then, slowly, the anger melted into sadness as the reality of everything hit me all over again. Softly, I asked her, "What did I do to push you away? Did you ever love me? Was he worth it?" She stayed still, silent. No tears, no reaction, No answers. Just standing there with her head down. Nothing. That silence? That hit harder than Discovery Day itself. I just kept staring at her. I probably would have stood there even longer if something had not pulled me out of it. Our daughters had been listening the whole time. I completely failed them in that moment. After spending weeks trying to protect them, putting their needs above everything, I had gotten so wrapped up in confronting my wife that I had not even thought about where they were. Our oldest daughter stormed down the stairs, furious, and lashed out at her mom. All that pent-up anger just exploded. My wife turned and bolted upstairs without saying a word, locked herself in the bedroom. That is where things stand right now. I could hear her crying up there most of the night, until I finally passed out. Only our youngest has tried to talk to her. The rest of us have been keeping our distance. I know I need to find the strength to ask her to leave. I am thinking of telling her to stay with her sister until the divorce is finalized. But at the same time, I know this is her house too. I cannot legally force her out. And the idea of all of us living under the same roof for the next few months? It is suffocating. I was wrong about her. You were all right. I was wrong about everything, the years we had together, the memories we made, the life we built. I truly thought she would fall to her knees, beg for forgiveness, confess everything to clear her conscience. This is the same woman who once drove all the way back to a farmer's market to return $9 after they gave her the wrong change. And yet, we were not worth that same effort. I was not worth it. Maybe I never was. Now what? Today was unbearable. We tried to carry on like we had the past few weeks, but nothing feels normal anymore. I just want to skip ahead to the end of the divorce, past the inevitable arguments and uncomfortable talks, past the fights and the drama. For those of you who have had to live with a wayward spouse while divorcing, how did you survive it? Especially with kids in the house? I keep reading posts that promise it will get better, but right now I feel so far from that. Every second I am either fighting the urge to scream or holding back tears. I'm trying so hard to stay steady for my daughters, but I do not know if I can keep this up for 3 more months. School is going to start before any of this is resolved. This is just my life now, I guess. Thank you to everyone who has cared enough to check in, to offer advice, to keep me going. I seriously do not know if the worst is behind us or still waiting ahead, but I appreciate every bit of help getting through whatever comes next. Update 5. I am struggling. I have been struggling ever since my wife came home. Ever since I learned the truth about her affair. I have been doing everything I can to hold it together for my daughters. I try to say the right things, think the right things, keep everything steady. But tonight, I have to be honest. Tonight, I broke. Like so many of you have shared, it comes in waves. And tonight, the wave hit hard, and I lost it a little. I have filed for divorce. My wife still has not hired a lawyer. I have been trying to be patient, to approach this gently, partly because I am holding on to hope that we can get through this with an uncontested divorce and keep things as simple as possible. But after tonight, I do not know anymore. We have been coexisting during the week. On Fridays, she stays at her sister's place for the weekend and comes back Sunday night since she works close to our home, while her sister's house is an hour away without traffic. For the past couple of weeks, this routine has been our life, mostly avoiding each other. The girls and I have been trying to carry on like normal. Meanwhile, my wife keeps to herself. There are brief interactions here and there in the evenings, but my oldest daughter and my wife are not speaking at all after a couple of really ugly arguments. And honestly, that is probably for the best right now. Lately, I have been trying really hard to follow the advice so many of you have shared. I have been focusing on keeping my self-control in check around my wife. It takes everything in me, but I have made a point to stay short, distant, but still polite and respectful whenever we do have to interact. At least, until tonight. For the past few Fridays, she has been coming home from work, grabbing a few things, and heading straight to her sister's house for the weekend, usually before I even get back from work. But tonight was different. Tonight, she waited for me in the kitchen. When I walked in and saw her standing there, I tried to just keep walking, but she lightly grabbed my hand. And then she asked me, "Is this really how you're going to treat me, just because I'm not ready to talk about the affair?" That was the first time she had even said anything acknowledging what she had done since this whole thing blew up almost a month ago. I swear I tried. I really tried to just walk away, to bite my tongue. But the girls were not home, and all the anger I had been bottling up finally boiled over. I snapped. I unleashed everything I had been holding inside, all the hurt, the betrayal, the frustration, the rage, the heartbreak. Every single thing I had been carrying, I let it pour out. I seriously could not even tell you how long I went off. I lost track of time completely. I know I raised my voice at times. I know I got loud. I know I broke down crying in the middle of it. I told her exactly how broken I felt, how every day since discovery has felt like hell. I laid it all bare. Everything I had kept locked up, every thought that haunted me, I let it out. Seriously, if I tried to recount every word I said, I could easily write 4,000 words. Once I started, I could not stop. And of course, after it was over, I was so angry at myself. I had been doing so well keeping my distance, staying composed. And then she got to me. I let her get to me. I knew it would happen eventually. I knew I was not going to be able to hold the line forever. And yet, still felt disgusted with myself. But something unexpected happened. For the first time since all this began, my wife actually broke down too. She started sobbing uncontrollably, like full-on ugly crying. And as messed up as this sounds, there was a part of me that felt relieved, almost satisfied. Seeing her finally crack, finally hurt, finally show something that resembled the pain I have been living with, it gave me a weird, bitter sense of validation. Through her crying, she kept repeating, "I'm so sorry," over and over again. That was all she could say. I left the kitchen before she could calm down enough to say anything more. I told her to leave me alone and walked out. She hung around the kitchen for a while after that, then packed up and left for her sister's place again. The girls came home about 30 minutes later. They knew something had gone down. You cannot really hide that kind of energy. But I was not ready to explain anything. And honestly, I do not think they need to know what happened between us tonight. The two younger ones have been doing so much better lately, and I do not want to set them back. And telling my oldest would just add more fuel to her anger toward her mom, and I do not want that either. God, I hate this. I hate everything about this. I should have kept it together. I should have just walked right past her, given her the cold shoulder. I do not know. Thinking back, it kind of feels like maybe she was finally trying to open up about the affair but just did not know how. And I shut it down by exploding. And now, despite everything, I have started worrying about her. I know some of you will criticize me for that, and you are not wrong. But I do not want her to spiral. She has been isolated. She has almost everyone turning their backs on her. You can say she brought it on herself, and she did, but she is still a human being. She is still the mother of my children. This feels like such a setback. I am so disappointed in myself. Sorry for ranting again. I already vented to my brother too. I guess I will just try to reset on Monday. I am only human. It honestly felt good in the moment to unload on her, but now the regret is creeping in. Should I text her? Or should I just leave it alone? I am such a mess right now. But thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for standing by me. Thank you for giving me advice while I try to crawl through this chaos. We have all started therapy, at least, so that is something. But this is just so damn hard. Update 6. I know a lot of you have reached out, and I want to say how much I appreciate it. Many of you are right. Things have not been going well. I have barely been online this week. I seriously thought maybe I should step away from the internet for a while, but this week has knocked me so far backward. It has been awful. My wife has barely left me alone all week. She has been overly nice, constantly apologizing for the affair, crying, clinging to me, begging for forgiveness. Every night she has been knocking on my bedroom door, asking to talk. Sometimes I ignored her. Sometimes, if I was in the right mindset, I talked to her. But on Wednesday night, I finally snapped. I told her flat out to leave me alone. And then last night, it happened. Just over a month since she came back after her affair blew up, now that we have settled into this awkward, tense routine of cohabitating, she came into my room after the girls went to bed and asked to talk. But this time, her tone was different. It was not the usual apologetic, clingy approach she had been using all week. At first, I resisted. I did not want another confrontation in front of the kids. But eventually, I agreed. We went out to the garage and sat in my car so the girls would not overhear. We ended up sitting out there for almost 3 hours. And she told me everything, or at least what she claims is everything. I am not even sure how much I should share here. I was up all night afterward. She sobbed for hours. I could not sleep. I cried too. Then I would get furious and have to fight the urge to storm back inside and scream at her. Then the sadness would hit again. Then more anger. Back and forth, over and over. I am sorry if it takes me a day or two to reply to anyone. I just needed to get this out before I tried to get some rest. And tonight has not been any easier. My wife has spent the whole evening apologizing, begging me for another chance, clinging to me again. I had to leave the house for a few hours just to get away. It is unbearable being around her. So, turns out my wife met her affair partner through her sister, way back, about 4 years ago, well before COVID ever happened. According to her, there were no romantic intentions at the start. He was just someone in a higher position at a company she really wanted to work for. And thanks to him, she got her foot in the door and eventually landed a job there. She swears that switching jobs had nothing to do with wanting to be near him. But once she started working there, well, let's just say having him around definitely gave her some extra motivation. After she got hired, he began flirting with her. It started innocent enough, just some texting here and there. Then it escalated. They began exchanging pictures. And before long, right before COVID hit, it turned physical. She told her sister about the affair at that point. Said she even thought about coming clean to me back then. But, surprise, she buried it. Decided to say nothing and keep it going. She claimed she went no contact with him shortly afterward. But once the lockdown started lifting and things reopened, he reached out again. And she fell right back into it. Their affair picked up again, and before long, the physical side resumed too. She told me she tried ending it a few times out of guilt. But she always went back to him. So really, it never actually ended. She came prepared that night. She even brought a handwritten 5-page timeline of her affair. Sat there reading it aloud, answering my questions along the way. She confessed to lying about so many things: weekend trips she supposedly took with the girls, work-related travel, traffic jams, fake errands, fake family issues, random shopping trips. Every lie had been a cover story to be with him. Hearing it all laid out like that, it just crushed me. And of course, everything I suspected turned out to be true. And then some. And what made it sting even more? Through all of this, her affection toward me never really seemed to fade. She never really pulled away emotionally like I have read so many betrayed spouses described. Sure, our intimacy changed a bit, but not enough for me to raise any serious red flags. She kept up the facade, and I never questioned her. She admitted she fell in love with him. She dreamed of running off with him, building a life together. He was older, divorced, single. Promised her expensive gifts, lavish vacations, spoiled her with fantasies. She said she started imagining an escape from all the responsibilities of family life. She described the thrill of being with him. Told me she felt trapped in the routines at home, and the excitement with him was too tempting to resist. She was so open, so emotional. It honestly seemed like she was being completely honest. And halfway through, I broke down. I started crying. It hurt so much to hear it all. Way more than I expected. And then, after she finished pouring everything out, she looked at me and told me she still loved me. That she had always loved me. And that she would do anything to try to save the marriage. So many of you warned me this moment would come. But seriously? It all felt fake. Rehearsed. Like she had been practicing those lines. I have known this woman for more than half my life. I could just feel it. She was not being real. Maybe I am wrong. But I do not think so. Either way, it does not really matter now. I managed to hold myself together better than last week. I still got angry. I still said a few sharp things. I even threw in a jab about how her affair partner was seeing other women at the same time, and she was just one of many women he was stringing along. That one hit her hard. I could tell. There were a million things I thought I would say in this moment. I had imagined it 1,000 different ways. All the comebacks, the one-liners, the things I would say to hurt her back. But one question had been sitting in my mind since day one. And I finally asked it. If he were still alive, I said, and you had to choose him or me, who would you pick? She hesitated, then quietly mumbled, "That's not fair." I pushed her, pressed her to answer. And after another pause, she finally whispered, "I'd choose you." I looked her straight in the eye and told her, "That hesitation? That's why I'm divorcing you. Because even now, you're still lying." She broke down sobbing again. That was the last thing she said that night. We sat there for a while in silence. She just kept crying. Eventually, I told her we are divorcing. I told her we owe it to the girls to be civil, to be good parents, to stay present in their lives. I added that after everything she put me through, I hoped she would be decent enough to make this a fair, amicable divorce. That would be the last proof that she actually loved me. And then, I leaned over, kissed her on the forehead, and told her, "I would have loved you forever." And I got out of the car, went inside, went to bed. That was it. Of course, I could not sleep. Barely slept last night. And here I am again tonight. Still awake. I do not even know what happens next. I do know her window to contest the divorce has passed, So I guess that is something. But I have not spoken to my lawyer yet. Tonight I have been crying again, sliding back into that awful mix of sadness and anger. Hearing everything last night, it was brutal. Seriously? I could have lived without knowing all the details. But now I do. And it fits everything I had pieced together these past few weeks. So that is where I am right now. This feels like it will never end. I will have a few days where I feel okay, stronger. And then something knocks me back down. It feels like months have passed, and yet only days. I am going to try to sleep. Try. Imagine this. The love of your life, the only woman you have ever loved, ever kissed, tells you she cheated on you for more than 4 years just because she was bored. Not because she stopped loving you. Not because we were growing apart. Not because we had problems or a dead bedroom. Just because she was bored. I do not know if that makes it worse. Or better. Thanks for reading. Thanks for helping me through this nightmare. These past few nights have been really, really hard.